Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we are looking at a new Shuckle card. Now, it's coming out in Sun and Moon 7A. That is Thunderclap Spark over in Japan. That set has now started leaking, which is lovely, which means we should get more and more cards over the next coming weeks. This is fun, but I really like this Shuckle. It has use in a whole bunch of decks. Now, if we look at the basics, there's nothing too impressive here. It's got 60 HP, which is super low. The retreat cost of 1 does open it up to escape board, giving free retreat, which I still think is going to see a lot of play after rotation. Weakness to fire, best thing we can say about it is a baby Volcanion Haynick won't get a 1-hit KO until it gets something like a Fighting Fury belt, which is actually rotated before this comes out, so he should be okay, I suppose. And being a grass Pokemon would mean that you're hitting weakness against stuff like Lycanroc, for instance, but you're not doing any damage ever, so it is irrelevant. I could mention Ether Paradise Conservation Area, meaning you take 30 less damage, but first of all, Field Blower, and second of all, you got 60 HP. No, ladies and gentlemen, the basics are not impressive about this Pokemon, but that's alright. It's not about the basics, it's about the ability and the attack. Now, this was revealed and translated over at Pokebeach.com, and according to the lovely people over there, the ability says that once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and discard them. You get to just discard 3 cards from your deck as long as they're all basic energy. And straight away, this should evoke some memories of Battle Compressor. Battle Compressor was one of the best cards in the format, bar none, for pretty much the entire time it was legal. That allowed you to search your deck for 3 cards and discard them. Now, this was used for a number of things like thinning out your deck, but it had specific uses, and Shuckle has a lot of those uses. It's not going to work for something like Vespiquen to discard energy, and it's not going to work for something like Chandelure, for instance, to discard supporter cards, but other than that, it's looking very nice indeed. Now, there are a whole bunch of decks that are going to use this, and I cannot sit here and go through all of them right now, but I can certainly show you a few examples. So how about any deck playing Aqua Patch? Aqua Patch allows you to attach your water energy basic from your discard to one of your benched water Pokemon. The thing is, if you draw into them early game, you've also got to draw into some way of discarding the energy. Here, you can just go ahead and get yourself a Shuckle, discard the free energy, and then the first 3 of your 4 Aqua Patch, you're going to have energy in the discard ready, so it really is that kind of last Aqua Patch that you're going to need to get energy for, i.e. you need to get an energy in the discard before you draw your 4th Aqua Patch. Now, we've always had stuff like Ultra Ball to discard energy. Water does actually have some nice tricks to discard them. Volcanion Prism Star needs to discard a basic water to use its ability, making your opponent switch their active. You've got Crash Awake, whereby you discard 2 basic water from your hand and then search your deck for any 2 cards. So water's actually got some nice little tricks. The thing is, and this is going to be a running theme through this video, sure, you can use Volcanion Prism Star, but you've got to have the energy in the discard, and remember that the first energy you draw into, you're going to want to attach, so you've got your attachment for the turn. So you really might be struggling to get an energy attached to your Pokemon and a couple energy in the discard for stuff like Aqua Patch. How about one of the best decks around at the moment, Malamar, which, well, it attaches a basic Psychic from your discard to one of your bench Pokemon. Great news, it's brilliant with stuff like Necrozma GX and Ultra Necrozma GX. Bad news, you've got to get the energy in the discard. And we've all played those games where you got free Malamar on the field, but you just cannot get a basic Psychic into the discard pile. Or at least you can't get free. This helps beautifully. How about Solgaleo and Lunala Prism Star? They allow you to attach 1 energy, psychic or metal, from the discard to your Pokemon in any way you like for each Pokemon your opponent has in play. They've got 6 Pokemon in play, you get to accelerate 6 energy. Problem is, you've got to get the energy in the discard, that's where Shuckle comes in. Now, I'm not giving you even every example here. We've got the new Blaziken coming, which has the same ability as Malamar but for fire Pokemon. Getting energy in the discard is good. You could just be thinning out your deck to draw into what you want, but there's so many things like Aqua Patch, like Malamar, like the Prism Stars that really want to have energy in the discard. Accelerating energy from the discard is something which happens a lot in the Pokemon trading card game. Shuckle's got your back, ladies and gentlemen. And getting free energy in the discard right away, that is awesome. Now, again, it's an ability on a basic, which means that Alolan Muck will turn it off, and you've got to have a bench space for it, which is a pain. Not to mention the fact that it's a coming into play ability, so you've got to be careful how you search for it. Bridget will have rotated, so that's a moot point, but you won't be able to use something like Nest Ball here, because Nest Ball puts it straight onto the bench and you lose that ability. You could use something like Fan Club, for instance, which a lot of people are talking about using after rotation, and that would let you have lovely access to it. But just remember that with it being a coming into play ability, you've got to be playing it from your hand. You can't just play it straight onto the bench with something like a Nest Ball. So, the ability here is just flat out great. And there are going to be a whole bunch of decks that love this. Whether you have the bench space, that's a big question. But I really think it is about the only question. You can't tell me that Malamar decks aren't going to want to get free energy in the discard early game. You can't tell me Solgaleo Prism Star decks don't want to get free energy in the discard early game. Heck, how about Latias Prism Star? How about Rayquaza? Latias Prism Star accelerates 1 basic energy from the discard to each of your bench dragon Pokemon. And Rayquaza, the new one, the GX, when you play it, discards the top 3 cards of your deck, and then attaches a basic energy to itself from the discard. You could use this to guarantee there's one in a discard for each Rayquaza. Although the ability really should do that, it is still an option. Now there is actually an attack here as well, which isn't half bad. 1 grass energy, attach 2 basic energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way that you like. It's a basic, it's for 1 energy, and you know you're going to have 2 basic energy in the discard because the ability puts 3 basic energy in the discard. Now, it's not all perfect here. The fact that it's got to be a grass energy really limits it to either grass decks or decks playing rainbow energy or maybe counter energy. But counter energy, you have to be behind on prizes, and this really is an early game kind of attack, so I think probably counter energy's out here. But it's good energy acceleration. If you're playing a fire deck, you've got Volcanion. If you're playing a dragon deck, you've got Latias Prism Star. If you're playing a lightning deck, you've got Raikou from Shining Legends. We don't really have anything great for grass Pokemon at the moment. I mean, sure, we've got Lurantis GX, but firstly, it's a stage 1. Secondly, it gives up 2 prizes. And thirdly, it's got a higher retreat cost, so you can't use a skateboard. Now, it does do 40 damage and have a lot more HP, so it is an option, but having this on a basic for a single energy really is pretty spectacular. It's a useful attack. I don't think it's the main reason to play Shuckle. I still think the main reason to play Shuckle is this ability, which is flat out phenomenally great, and I don't see a huge argument against it, other than the whole bench space thing. But the attack here is still useful, and although I won't see play in a huge amount of decks, I do see it seeing play in some grass decks as an early game Pokemon, as a starting Pokemon. I think it's fair to give Shuckle between 4 and 5 Wussies. We don't give half Wussies, that would be barbaric. And even as I say it, I'm feeling a little bit mean, a little bit stingy, a little bit misery, bit like a Scrooge. This is a great ability in a number of decks. There's going to be plenty of people that don't want to play it because they don't want to use the bench space, and I can't fault them for that. But in any Aqua Patch deck, any Malamar deck, any Solgaleo or Lunala Prism Star deck, you've got to be giving this serious consideration because it will give you that extra speed. There's nothing worse than popping a Solgaleo Prism Star in the active, your opponent's got 5 Pokemon on the field, and you've got 1 energy in the discard, and you may as well have used a Registeel. Don't get me wrong, I love Registeel, but I also love accelerating 5 energy cards rather than 1. The attack is nice and we'll see playing grass decks, but honestly, the fact that it is grass energy and therefore limited to grass decks does hurt it a little bit. But I want to hear from you guys now. Do you think this is going to see a lot of play? Do you think this will go straight into Malamar decks, or are people going to save the space for something else? Let me know. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.